Good morning, everybody. Yes, I am Dorian, the founder and CEO of Streetwise Technology. Today, I am talking about modernizing Belisha beacons for the 21st century and pedestrian safety more holistically. So, road safety is something that is deeply personal. It's not an abstract issue, it's something that we all feel. Whether as a pedestrian, a parent, a driver, many of us can recall the moment when something almost went terribly wrong. The heartbeat quickens, the brake catches, and for a few seconds, everything stops. And this happens more often than it should. On Friday afternoons, I will take a break from Teams. I'll untether myself from the computer and take a walk from where I live to the center of my village with my two young daughters, aged 3 and 1. We cross three zebra crossings on the way to town. More often than not, a vehicle will go over the crossing as we are already on the crossings. I also run within my village, and in the middle picture here, we, we have Petronella, a local resident that I often run by, and she lives in the local older age home and uses a mobility scooter 3 times a week to cross the road in order to catch a bus to go into town. And she often comes into contact with fast moving lorries who don't even know that she is there. And then the last picture that I've got here is another local resident, Harry, who is 12 years old. He's independent, smart, and proud to be walking to the bus stop on his own. But in winter, when the sun sets early, his parents stop him as the route is too dangerous at night, and even though it includes zebra crossings. Now, those are those are individual stories, but they reflect a national challenge. Each year in the UK, over 18,000 pedestrians are struck by a vehicle each year, and over 6,000 of those suffer serious injuries. And in private workspaces, over 25 people are killed by coming into contact with a vehicle just for being at work. And obviously, there's a tragedy behind these, but there is also a family whose life is wrecked forever by these incursions happening. And yet, despite years of progress, these numbers have now plateaued. Uh, Progress has stalled, and we've reached the limits of what old tools can offer. And why is that? It's because we lack insights. We don't see what's leading to these incidents. Data is sparse and anecdotal, and we only act when tragedy strikes. And by then, it's too late. So the Belisha beacon, and I'm sure everybody knows what the Belisha beacon is, orange flashing light over a zebra crossing. It's a symbol of pedestrian safety. It was invented in the 1930s, and while our roads, vehicles, and lives have evolved drastically, it hasn't. And it still does the same things that it did in 1936. It flashes. And, but here's the real cost. When roads are unsafe, people change their lives around them. My Friday walk becomes a negotiation. Petronella hesitates before going to the shops, and Harry loses his independence in winter. And that when transport fails, inequality grows. People in rural areas can't get to jobs, hospitals, or schools. Some become reliant on others for basic mobility, and others simply fall through the cracks. For some, It may mean being unable to escape abusive situations. For low-income families, it could mean missed doctor appointments. And for children, it's lost access to sport or after-school initiatives. And these aren't once-off issues. They become embedded in inequalities, structural and intergenerational. So let's look at one of the most recognizable pieces of roadside infrastructure, the Belisha beacon. As I said, invented in 1936, it was a landmark idea for its time, visually marking safe crossing points and giving pedestrians a full presence in traffic environments. But it's hardly changed. It's still just a flashing light on a pole, no intelligence, no data, no ability to adapt to conditions, behavior, or risk. And yet, we continue to rely on it to protect people. And we know today that crossing the road is not simply a matter of visibility. It's about speed, direction, road geometry, life conditions, and the cognitive and physical ability of the person crossing. It's about context. The beacon knows none of that. And this isn't just a missed opportunity. It's a failure to act when the tools are finally available to do more. Now, we've tried to use technology to improve safety. There are smart cameras, AI systems, vehicle tracking, all with the aim of making our roads safer. But most of this tech is focused on vehicles and not people. Even when pedestrian monitoring exists, it's typically through cameras, which bring their own issues: cost, privacy concerns, data streaming, and ongoing maintenance. And these are not minor limitations. They're the reason why uptake has been slow and impact limited. The Belisha beacon, on the other hand, exists almost everywhere. It's understood, visible, and trusted. What it isn't yet is smart. And that's why the Belisha beacon isn't just a symbol of outdated infrastructure. It's a perfect foundation for modernization. We now have the ability to embed intelligence directly into it, and so that allows radar to detect people, vehicles, cyclists in any condition. Uh, Localization awareness to understand and anticipate where people are moving. Accessibility tools like NFC cards and unicast broadcasting. Connectivity to communicate with vehicles, including autonomous ones. And importantly, this doesn't require changing how people use crossings. It builds on something people already understand and trust, but it brings it into the 21st century. It creates a system that sees and understands, that adapts and responds, and that can predict and prevent. So we mustn't view the Belisha beacon as a static piece of history, but as a platform, a node, a bedrock for intelligent, human-first infrastructure. But let me be clear. This isn't just about Belisha beacons. The same principles, human-centric sensing, contextual awareness, predictive capability, can and must be applied across our environments, in industrial sites, bus stops, in ports, in rural lanes, and school traffic zones. And when we network these systems together, when one crossing talks to another, and all of them feed into a central platform, we start to unlock something transformative. We start to see patterns. We identify risk before it becomes harm. We stop relying on the anecdotal, someone turning in to say, this crossing feels unsafe. And instead, we act on clear, contextual, and objective data. And this means that local authorities can make smarter decisions. Redesigning a crossing layout because the data shows that people regularly pause in uncertainty halfway through. Allocating wardens for calming measures not based on complaint volume, but on measured near misses. Changing signal timing or lighting because the system sees that pedestrians are waiting too long or not being seen at night. And when this intelligence is shared across a network, it becomes a living layer of insight across a town or city. And it's not just digital twins or dashboards, but tools for actions grounded in fact and not fear. When you have that kind of visibility, you don't just respond better, you act sooner and you act right because you have and understand the full context. But when we don't measure, when we assume that infrastructure is good enough, we create blind spots. And sometimes those blind spots become unbearable. I'm sure everybody has recently seen Alice recently as a 9-year-old girl. She was killed on a crossing working to school. And it wasn't a Belisha beacon, it was a signalized crossing, a place designed to be safe. But again, we have to ask, how many times had that road almost taken someone's life before it finally did? And how many near misses and how close calls? How many times did somebody hesitate, feel unsafe, or barely make it across, but no one saw it and nothing changed? And that's the reality. Without insight, we don't know, and without knowing, we can't act. So, yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Yes.